everyone. Welcome to the month of Iyar. I always felt a little bad for Iyar because it comes right after Nisan, where the greatest revelations of Hashem and His miracles. And it's right before Sivan, when we receive the Torah, which is another great proclamation of Hashem's existence and receiving the Torah, becoming a nation. And then there's like little Iyar stuffed in between. And I always felt a little bad, like, what is the power of Iyar? And then I understood the power of Iyar, and I'm going to share that with you right now. In our journey from leaving Mitzrayim and heading to receiving the Torah and eventually to our final destination of Eretz Yisrael, we made a pit stop along the way in a place called Mara. Mara means bitterness, and that's because the only accessibility that they had to water, the only way that they were able to drink, was from a water that was actually bitter. So it was very difficult to drink, and they were thirsty. So Moshe was instructed to take a tree, throw the tree into the water, and then miraculously the water turned from bitter to sweet, which is super cool and amazing, but I have so many questions. First of all, why did they even need to experience this miracle? They had just been through so many miracles. It's not like they needed Hashem to show Himself or prove Himself again in any way. Why couldn't they get to Mara and the water would just be sweet and they can drink it and life would be smooth and wonderful and then they can be on their way? Why they need this entire experience of the water being bitter, throwing a tree inside, and it turning into sweetness? And that is because this miracle demonstrated that life itself, which by the way is symbolized by water, the source of all physical nurture, can sometimes be very bitter. But it doesn't have to remain that way. We can take something that's bitter and we can make it sweet. So that leads me to the next question, which is, why a tree? Why couldn't Hashem instruct Moshe to throw his sandal inside the water and the water will become sweet? Why a tree? A tree is much more complicated. You gotta chop it down, you gotta schlep it, you gotta throw it in. So let's understand, what is the essence of a tree? What is the tree's job here in this world? The tree actually supplies the world with nourishment and with nutrients, but how does that process work? So let's get to it from the beginning. A tree inhales carbon dioxide, but exhales oxygen. It breathes in carbon dioxide, which is a poison, but it converts it to oxygen, and then it breathes out that nourishment and those nutrients into the world. So get what's happening. The tree breathes in poison from the world, but it breathes out nourishment back into the world. Now, we as human beings were compared to a tree. Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh. That means we have the power and we have the capacity to breathe in poison from the world, to convert it into nourishment, and then to breathe out that nourishment into the world. We breathe in carbon dioxide. We breathe in negativity, but we can breathe out positivity. We breathe in hatred, but we can breathe out love. We breathe in nastiness, but we can breathe out kindness. We don't have to reciprocate the negativity that we inhale from the world around us. We can take that negativity, we could convert it into positivity, and with that we can breathe that out and nourish the entire world. We can breathe in darkness, we can breathe out light. That's who we are, not only as human beings, but that's who we are as Jewish people. Just look around in the world today. We are breathing in on a regular basis insults, hate, hurtful comments, lies. But we can take all of that poison and we can convert it into oxygen. And then we can exhale that positivity and nourish the entire world. Now here's the thing. What is the date that the Jewish people arrived in the place called Mara? It was Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And Iyar is referred to by the name Ziv. It actually used to be called Ziv and later was changed to Iyar. What does Ziv mean? Ziv means a light, glow, radiance. Because the month of Iyar has that power and has that energy to create radiance, to create light. We can take bitter water and we can make it sweet. And we do that through understanding the essence of a tree, which is what we are compared to. That we can take anything negative and we can make it positive. We can take anything dark and we can make it light. We can inhale nastiness, but we could respond with kindness. Now, this is globally, but there's also in our personal and individual lives. To have this understanding that just because someone speaks to us negatively doesn't mean we have to respond and reciprocate in that same negative state. We could actually convert the negativity into positivity. How do we respond to our husbands? How do we respond to our children? Are we allowing negativity to perpetuate? Are we getting into power struggles? Are we reciprocating chaos with chaos? Or are we converting the chaos into calm? We can respond to frustration with kindness. We have the power to convert the dynamic in our home from a negative one to a positive one, from an impatient one to a patient one, from a frustrated one to a kind one, from a chaotic one to a calm one. That is the power that we possess, and the energy to do this is much more accessible during the month of Iyar. And this week's Parsha is Kedoshim. Kedoshim speaks about holiness. We have the power to bring holiness into the world. We bring holiness in the world by converting negativity into positivity, by converting darkness into light, by converting bitterness into sweetness. We have the power to do that. Have the most beautiful Shabbos.